Welcome, Suzie Ungerleider,
Thank you, Fiona Black.
AKA Susanna.
Yes.
Welcome to Backstage at CapU. We're actually on our stage, though, not backstage at all. But you've had
Where's the wine?
You've had Backstage at CapU.
Yeah.
Hospitality rider comes after the show.
That's right.
You know that,
yeah,
Suzie,
you're
right?
not allowed to bring it on the stage.
Well, thanks for joining me, and it's great to see you. It'll be fun to catch up on all your news. Welcome back to Vancouver.
Thanks.
How long have you been back in town, back in your hometown?
Since August, so almost, I guess, 10 months or so.
So what brought you home?
Well, I started to write this album a few years ago about growing up in Vancouver, and writing all those songs made me really think about if I should actually be here, which seemed like a scary thing because I'd been in Toronto for 25 years.
25? You're
Something
kidding.
crazy. No, maybe not that long. At that point, 20 years. And so I just started to really imagine Vancouver again, and I came back here, and I was talking to my dear friend Veda Hilly, who's a really amazing songwriter and composer, and I said to her, "Do you think I should be here? Do you think I should move back?" And her face lit up, and she was like, "Yeah." And the thing that she said to me was that I didn't have to do it forever. I can just try it out. And then I had to convince my husband and kid that they should do it along with me, which was actually amazingly easy.
Yeah, they were up for it.
Yeah, they were totally into it. So my folks are here, and my past is here. And even though I really needed to go away and Toronto was amazing, great community, it was almost like when I lived here, I wasn't really a music person growing up, or I was an audience member, and I participated in wanting to be a musician, but never having the guts to do it. So I had to go to Toronto to try on this musical identity. But then in Toronto, I started to miss these other parts of myself, which are here. So it's almost like a way of integrating the musical part of me and then just the human part of me and the individual part of me and all my past, putting those things together.
Well, you couldn't have foretold what your year in Vancouver would be with what came down in March upon all of us. How are you feeling about the shutdown, the pause in your life, and how it's affecting your world?
I think I'm kind of in denial in some ways. When I'm home, I'm pretty introverted anyway, so that's not that difficult. In fact, the lifestyle of being at home and not having a strict schedule is pretty normal for a lot of us. So I've talked to a lot of writer friends, and we've all been like, yeah, imagine having like a straight job and then suddenly you couldn't go to it. And we're like, well, we're kind of floating around. Floating around is sort of what we do.
Yeah.
And there's always that feast or famine kind of feeling, and maybe the desperation feeling is kind of always there. So in this way, it's sort of an excuse or a way to, a forced writer's retreat or a forced reflection, or maybe it's like a pass, like nobody is touring, so I don't have to feel bad if I don't have so many gigs this year. I think the thing that will be difficult is not doing something like a festival, because I feel so much in a community when I do a festival with the other people who play music and with the audience, and there's this beautiful energy, and I'm gonna miss not doing
Folk
festivals.
Fest. Wow. Yeah. I feel like the summer festivals of Vancouver are my touchstones. Like end of June, I produce the North Shore Jazz Series with the Vancouver Jazz Festival, and it's a wonderful 10 days. I don't know. I look forward to it. It's a ton of work, but I just love it. But Folkfest is I'm not working for that festival. I just go and enjoy, and I've been blessed to get backstage and get to catch up with tons of artist friends who are coming through for the festival. So it's going to be a huge miss this summer, and I'm sure for you, this would have been your first year back probably for a long time for Folk Festival.
I think the last time I was there was 2007.
Yeah.
So it was going to be really fun. I had a great band lined up.
You had a gig with the Folk Festival.
Yeah, I had a gig. And that was going to be exciting because, I mean, moving here helps me to expand my connections so I can play with people that I love, but I haven't been able to play with, and also discover new people.
So how has the scene changed in 20 odd years?
Well, it's hard for me to say. I feel like I didn't really immerse myself so much when I got back, but one of the things I did was East Van Opry, which was amazing.
Yeah, it's a great event.
You know, when I was living here, people who inspired me, like Bughouse 5 and Ray Kondo, and Jimmy Roy was at the East Van Opry, and I was starstruck because it's those people that really inspired me when I lived here.
There's so much talent in Vancouver.
Yeah.
It's a big pleasure of mine to go out and connect with local musicians, and so I feel this pause, like as we crawl back to live music in this town, it's the local musicians that are obviously going to get the gigs because foreign tours are not happening right now.
I actually kind of love that. What that means is that Vancouver will see the talent that it has, and maybe some of our famous Vancouverites will emerge and start playing shows for the people who live here, which would be amazing.
As we were talking about earlier, all these beautiful big empty theaters that have lovely stages. We'll get there, and we'll get back to the way it was. I kind of refuse to accept the concept of the new normal. I'm just sort of, we're going to go back to normal.
Yeah, it's hard to
the virus will go away. Or we'll get the cure. We got to be optimistic and for sure. I want to go back into your growing up in Vancouver and how you first got connected with music or felt that was going to be your path. I know you and Veda have a history back in high school, so.
Yeah. Well, I guess, how far back do you want to go?
You should be on a couch now.
I know, it's like, exactly.
Let's go back to those repressed memories.
The record player and the radio. Actually, I'm part of this nostalgic Vancouver Facebook group where you see images. It's like a photo album. And now there's 38,000 people who are part of it on Facebook. But the other day there was this post about 14C Fun. And I was like, oh my God. Like those, you get to see these things and it kind of pierces your soul. I think one of the most exciting concerts was seeing The Clash at the Kerrisdale Arena.
I'm so jealous. What year?
I think 1982.
Wow, before my time here.
And in June.
Well, you were young.
I was 12.
Jeez.
And I didn't have a ticket. It was sold out. And it was so great because everybody was like, The Clash are coming. And so it didn't matter if you had a ticket. You're just going to go. You're just going to go to the arena in Twee, Kerrisdale, with all the little old ladies sipping tea out there.
Wow.
It was like British Vancouver. And, my friends and I were like, got our eyeliner on and our tight jeans. And I don't even know what we were thinking because we didn't have a ticket. But it was the days of maybe you'll get in. Maybe you'll just storm the turnstile and get in. And that's a lot of people I knew, that's what they did. They just stormed the turnstiles and hopped over.
Security wasn't what it is now.
I think the security was like the guys from DOA or something. You know, it was like other punk rockers. And I was there with my sister's friend. My sister just could always get into gigs. She just get in, you know, just, you know, look pretty and then jump over the gates. And I was way too shy. So I was hanging out with her friend. Somehow she didn't get in. And my other two friends, and we went around the side door, and my sister's friend Leah was like opening these mailboxes, going through and going, "Oi, oi, Joe, let us in!" and then we knocked on the side door, and the security guard opened it up and said, "What do you guys want?" And she said, "Please, will you let us in?" And he looks at us and he's like, 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
And he let us in.
What a hero.
Yeah, and it was like the most thrilling. And the show had already started. That was the other thing. So we walked in and there were all like, you know, the opening chords to Clash City Rockers. And like we were just like, whoa, we're the coolest.
That's fantastic at 12 years old.
Yeah.
I had a similar, I wasn't as young as you, but I saw the Ramones at the Commodore. It was in the early 80s. It was fantastic. Like, I had never seen a punk band live before, and I was a big fan, and I had to get to the front, and I almost got crushed.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was just this crush for the first, 10 feet in front of the stage. Then behind that was the mosh pit. So if you managed to get into the mosh pit, you just get beat up because it was so crazy. And then you just had to get spit out into the outer regions of the Commodore to actually be safe in that room. So I kind of went through the whole ringer of those levels or those layers. I couldn't believe seeing the Ramones. They're a crazy looking band. Joey Ramone is so tall and just the energy is, well, and you saw Joe Strummer, which, as I said, one of my all-time favorites. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how Scrappy Bitches came around.
Oh, yeah.
The formation of that whole project. So it's yourself, Veda Hilly, and Kenny Starr.
One of my first gigs was Music West, and Kenny was on the gig, and I think maybe Veda was playing the same night, and we were all playing at the Railway. And Veda, I knew Veda, I didn't know Kenny. I just heard of her. So Veda, who had, we went to high school together. We weren't really friends. She was someone who was always into music, always playing music. And I was someone who was on the sidelines wanting to do it. She found out that I was starting to write songs and record a little bit. And so she gave me one of my first gigs. And, after one of these first gigs, she said to me, someone came up to me and said, "Are you and Susanna and Kenny Starr going on tour together?" And Veda was telling me, like, "Hey, we're not doing this. We haven't planned this, but maybe we should."
Someone gave you the idea.
And we were like, "Yeah, let's do it." We didn't know Kenny. Or maybe Veda had met her once or something. I met her maybe once. And
who came up with the name?
Veda.
Veda.
I remember being on the phone with Veda, and we're like, "Yeah, so we're going to do this because we need to get everybody to agree, and what would it be like, and then it's like, okay, should we get a name?" And Veda goes, "Yeah, how about Scrappy Bitch Tour?" I'm like, "Perfect, let's do it."
And did you live up to your name?
Not in a way. I mean, like, the thing that was so funny was that after a while, we're like, this really should be called the Sappy Bitch Tour because we're not really that bitchy. But what was, first of all, Lilith Fair was happening at the same time, and the marketing and the branding was, gentle, soft, feminine women. And I think all felt like we didn't fit into that. So let's have this contrast of Scrappy Bitch Tour.
Great.
Like, it's kind of hilarious to be calling it that. Even though, Lilith, I was always like, why are they having Venus on the half shell be the branding of Lilith Fair. Like Lilith was this horrible, woman before Eve existed, and she ate her children and all this stuff. And it was like this fierce, and she basically didn't fit the mold, so she got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and God starts again.
Wow.
And this is what my liberal arts education is good for.
I did not know the genesis of this.
Lilith is like this apocryphal story that didn't make it into the Bible, but it's this, Jewish old, Hebrew story of like this woman who existed before Eve. And so we wanted to channel that energy.
The real Lilith.
Yeah, the real Lilith. So we were into this idea of being edgy and just being women as we are, instead of trying to be soft and palatable. And I think that we all, even though we're not really bitchy, I think we kind of claimed that name because it was like, that thing, if you're not soft and palatable, then maybe you're a bitch. So
you owned
so we were like, let's be bitches.
We're gonna own it.
And then we took off with that whole idea, and we had this whole thing of us being, the poster was us taking on these alter egos of superheroes, and we even had this kitschy intro where we had our sound man say, like, if the bitch signal appears in the night sky, and then we'd come out with masks, and everything was very silly. And then the serious part, though, was, us performing, and even though our music was completely different from one another, we had this very strong commonality, which was use language in a way that kind of gets you deep into something. And use music to go deep into something. So I think it was this incredible feminine, it's not feminine, it's like feminist, strong energy.
Yeah.
And while we were touring, though, it was very difficult because we loved each other so much, but we were like so stubborn. Each of us is so stubborn and headstrong and has certain ideas of things. And also, Kinney and I, we really had no experience, and Veda had so much experience, and she was like the wise woman. But again, she had never toured with other women. She had only had her band. So we all had to learn how to deal with one another, and sometimes that was hard. So there was like tears and like someone saying something as a joke, and then the other person being upset about it, and then be like, but we did communicate, and at the end of it all, it was like, it was like a family, I guess. Sisters don't always get along, but then in the end, you're like, I love you.
Well, almost 25 years now since you guys formed. You'll have to do some kind of 25-year reunion.
I know. I get so emotional about it when I think about it. It's like so. I would love to do that, and I think that we all would love to do it. But it's it's one of these things where we don't live in the same place, or we're at different moments in our thinking about performing.
If you got time to play a couple of your own tunes for us, what do you think?
Yes.
Yeah,
I can do that.
That will be what a treat to have someone perform on our stage, because empty stages should not be empty stages.
Okay. This is a song called Tickets on the Weekend, and it's in honor of all those folks who ever went to a punk rock show in Vancouver, or even beyond Vancouver. This is about the night that I wanted to go see DOA at the New York Theater, but never got there. You pass the grease ball smoking in the breezeway, Mona Lisa, smile upon your face. Your hands are jammed inside your pockets, but they're counting down the days. You get tickets on the weekend to see DOA. All ages leaping from the stages. Joey's in the pulpit preaching smash the state. In his green Mac jacket and his sleeves all cut away. In a sea of sweat we were floating away. Down at the Oddfellows Hall with the big and the small, we'll be slamming away. Baby, spike up your hair, raise your fist in the air, nothing stands in our way. Hobnobbing with the poor, sneaking through the back door, sister, she never pays. Baby, punks at the scene, we were pretending we're mean, it's just a part that we play. Gabba gabba, hey, hey, hey. Just like actors in a play. Well, David's got the liquor, but here's the shit kicker. Cops are in the corners casing out the place. We could send home to our parents with our tails between our legs. No more tickets on the weekend to see DOA. Down at the Oddfellows Hall with the big and the small, we won't be slamming away. Baby, you spiked up your hair and raised your fist in the air, but something stands in our way. Hobnobbing with the poor, sneaking through the back door, sister, she never pays. Baby, punks at the scene, we were pretending we're mean, it's just a part that we play. Gabba gabba, hey, hey, hey. Just like actors in a play. Gabba gabba, hey, hey, hey. Tickets on the weekend. No more tickets on the weekend. Tickets on the weekend. No more tickets on the weekend. Tickets on the weekend. No more tickets on the weekend. Tickets on the weekend. No more tickets on the weekend.